What's up, people? I'm Inscription. Just gonna go through some Reddit here today, and we're gonna go through video games. Just to, my goal for this channel is to kind of just have something you can put on, just to have in the background, just to kind of give, weigh in on different things. So I basically just want to scroll through Reddit on a certain topic, and just kind of weigh in on certain things. So today it's video games. I'm a big fan of video games. I think I'm gonna do a lot of gaming stuff on this channel. I don't know. They're interactive. They're fun. They involve the community. A lot of people, do them as a hobby. Do them as a side, kind of like a side thing on the side. So, yeah, I think it'll be cool. I'm trying to create a community, and just I think video games are a great way to do that. Pull people in. Movies too, but I think movies suck lately. So I don't know. That's a maybe. But here we go. All right. Name an extremely underrated gem that isn't talked about enough. Sunset Overdrive. I don't even remember this game. I think that is a battle royale that came out a while ago, right? And I'm just not sure that was a very good game at all. Honestly, what do people say about it? They like Freedom Fight. Yeah, see, no one's even talking about this. Fucking love Sunset Overdrive. Bought the white Xbox One that came with it. Huh. I'm trying to think, like, what would I answer to this? An extremely underrated game, in my opinion. I think the game that people didn't like the most that I loved. Let's see, underrated. All my games I like are not underrated. I like everything that's been like very popular. Wow. I think the least popular game I've ever played that I loved was an MMO called Rift. Absolutely loved Rift. I think it was so innovative. It would have open like, it had an open world, kind of like WoW, basically the same thing. And then it would have like events, so like bosses would spawn in the world, and like everyone would go to the boss, and like, or like rifts would open, or like sometimes it would involve the whole zone, and like you had people going, and like you had to like do things in like a timer, and like it was really cool, and it brought a sense of community, and like I don't know, it was awesome. I loved it. Like a boss spawns that's coming towards town, and all these people just flying out of the town to go kill it, and you have the DPS meters, and you're weighing your own DPS against everyone else. That was awesome. I used to love that. It also had, in my opinion, one of the best designed art styles. Like, it was so pretty to look at. It was like literally so pretty, and it wasn't particularly great graphics, but it was kind of like WoW, like WoW still looks good today, right? And it just like had this like nice timeless style to it. I thought it was really cool. Very fantasy, very high fantasy, right? I thought the gear looked great. The gear was like, if I can remember correctly, the gear was kind of, it wasn't like WoW where it was like it had a lot of 3D aspects on it, right? I think WoW has that now, but back when WoW launched, it was more just a flat, like, almost like a jumpsuit that looked like a chainmail. But with Rift, it had like, it had the plate like coming off, and it was shiny, and it was like, it was cool. And one of the other things that I think was so underrated about Rift that I wish WoW had was you could program your whole entire macro onto like, or like multiple macros, right? Onto like 1, 2, and 3, and 4, right? So you'd have like 4 macros. Like in this situation, I would use 1. In the other situation, I would choose 2. And what you would do is you would just click that button, and it would click. You would program it to do this skill first, that skill second, this one next, and you could just spam one button and do it. And I thought that was so cool, because it was like, for me, one of the hardest parts for me in a game is like doing the mechanics while hitting all kinds of messed up buttons on my keyboard, like shift 1, C, G, T, control 1. Like, it was just like, it was too much, but with this one, some people probably like that, and that's totally cool. I'm not like trying to take away from that style, because WoW is I think WoW is pretty good in that regard for combat wise. But I always just love the simplicity of just spamming through, watching my character fly through all their abilities right in a row. It was great. It was like I could focus on the game. I wasn't focusing on like doing maneuvers and at the same time clicking keys. Yeah, I just really liked it better. Let's see what else people have on here. Wow, people are saying things I don't even know what they are, and I consider myself pretty. Yeah, they're almost like, I feel like maybe these are a lot of freedom fighters. I have no idea what freedom fighters is. I don't know any of these. I'm waiting for one I know. Dragon's Dogma. Yeah, that one's a good one. I'm excited for the sequel on that one. That one, Capcom has been on a friggin' roll lately. Capcom is like, they're just really, like, I don't know, they're popping off. They're like AAA games that are still AAA in my opinion. Resident Evil 4 Remake was god tier. Like, I'm sorry, that was Game of the Year this year. When I first got to it, just talking about Resident Evil 4, because I'm a big Resident Evil fan. When I got to and I liked 2, and I liked 3, and I even liked 7 and 8. They didn't feel particularly like unique. 7 did, I should say. 7 definitely did when it came out, but they kind of felt like they were evolving on each other, but like you've played something like it before. Resident Evil 4 didn't feel that way to me, and I don't know. It felt very brutal, very gritty in a way I hadn't felt in a game ever before. Like, it just felt so grimy, like just brutal. Like, I remember when I got to the first part where there were not the first part, but it was the first part where there was a lot of guys, and there was like the rooftops, and then there was like the bridges over this canyon, and these guys just kept coming, and you're just like, you're stabbing them with knives, you're blowing them to pieces with your shotgun, the camera's going nuts, it's like going in and out, and it feels so crazy. There's bombs going off, and like, oh my god, it just felt so good, and all the animations look so good, and it's like, it'd be like if you could picture like an Elden Ring fight. Like, it has that epicness of it, except instead of rolling all the time, your guys doing like all kinds of like pre-rendered animations, like to make you feel like, it's more cinematic, and it was just so insane. I loved it. But so I'm excited to see what they come up with Dragon's Dogma. Biomutant. Oh, that game was horrible. There's no way that's a good game. Overlord, huh? I don't remember that game quite. Jet Force Gemini, my friend loved this game. I absolutely despised it. I don't know what it was about that game. It felt weird. It was just a weird game. I didn't like it. Halo, huh? What game franchises started out strong but got consistently worse, ended terribly, not including multiplayer? Got considerably worse. Well, definitely Resident Evil for a while. That's my first one that came to mind. Oh my god, almost all, like a lot of them, didn't they? Really? Like, they go through kind of like fluctuations. Halo is the crime of the century. I just like Halo to me. Halo 2 and 3. I want to say they're the greatest shooters ever made. I'm sorry, I know, but that to me, there were top tier shooters in my opinion. Me and my friends would hook up 2 Xboxes. We could have like 8 people over, and we're freaking playing on screens like this big. And man, it was so much fucking fun, because I don't know, playing online these days, it's not the same when you can like when you headshot a buddy and he tackles you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just something missing there, and I miss that so much. And it was so good. Those games were so good. And like Destiny tried to like capture that, I think, but Destiny for me, like I like Destiny 1 enough, but for some reason I never got into Destiny 2. It was, I don't know. Couldn't get into it. I don't know why. I think it was too complicated, or like it was too, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I don't like the RPG aspects of it. I like when everyone's like the same, you know, for a shooter. Like I don't really want an RPG shooter. I don't really want someone with a better gun than me. Like right off the bat, like he just spawns with a better gun. Or, you know, it's like, I don't know. Revolve our model for our game. I mean, I love guns that look like this. I do. I don't like the futuristic aspects of it though. I'm a person that like, if it's too futuristic, I'm not a big fan of futuristic. I like present day or before. Don't really like futuristic games. There's a few exceptions. I like Star Wars. I don't like the movies, the new movies, but I like Star Wars in theory, right? Like I like how it's kind of, it feels, it's a space fantasy, right? It's not sci-fi, it's like space fantasy. I like that. But yeah, I mean, that's a good Revolver, it's nice. Best video game I've ever played. I mean, that's kind of a generic one, right? It's kind of a generic question. And I've played a lot of them. Oh my God, this guy actually says, my favorite game I've ever played is Resident Evil 4 Remake. Wow. Interesting. Well, he's Zombie Bite Games. He likes zombies, right? That's cool. Yeah, Resident Evil 4, insane game. Best game I ever played? No. Best game I ever played is probably, I'm gonna be a boomer here. I'm gonna be a freaking boomer. It's gonna be Ocarina of Time. I mean, Ocarina of Time has a feel to it that I haven't gotten since. I haven't gotten the feel for that. Like, it feels so mysterious. Like when you're playing it, you just feel like it's mysterious. It's just weird. It's just weirdly mysterious. Like, you know, you start off, you gotta fucking go inside of a tree, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing going in this tree? And it's like, you're figuring out these puzzles, you know, you get a fairy, you're like, what the hell's going on with this game, right? And like, you go through this struggle. I was a kid, so you know, you finally beat the Deku Tree, and you're like, damn, that was insane. That was a good game. You know, you're thinking, that was a good game. Gotta be almost done now. That was probably like a third of it. And then you get out in the Hyrule field, and you're like, you're just like, where do I go? And then, you know, you realize, oh my God, I have a lot of game left. You know, it really dawns on you, like, I have a lot of game. And I don't know, with the mystical stuff, with like the Triforce, the beginning of the universe, like the three gods, you know, what they govern, like power, courage, wisdom, like that makes up the Triforce. And like, you realize, like, yeah, those things, like, it's weird, but it like makes sense to you. It's almost like someone's reading you like a religious text, and you're like, yes, this makes sense. You're like, somehow it just makes sense. And you know, and like the whole time you're thinking you're gonna get the Triforce, and then you actually end up getting a part of it. And it's just like, it's what they don't do with that game. Like, Link doesn't talk, he simply observes, right? And you're just an observer, and you're observing like the interactions between you know, other characters and the world and the changes of the world. And then you finally open the door of time and get into the Temple of Time, inner sanctum, with the Master Sword in the pedestal. And like, you know, it's like you walk into that room and it's like, you're not supposed to be here. Like, this is the most sacred room in like the whole realm. Like you are this is it's like you're finding your way into the Illuminati sanctum of the world. Like, you're not supposed to see it. No one's supposed to know it's here. Only you're here. And you know, you go and pull the blade out. You go forward, you go into some other dimension. You basically go to heaven. Like, you basically go to like the fifth dimension, the Temple of Light, which is supposed to be in the sacred realm, which is basically heaven. And you basically, you know, they keep you there for 70 years, send you back as an adult. You come out. It's a zombie land. It's a zombie apocalypse in the town. I mean, as a kid, that just blew my mind. Everything's different when you're an adult. Like the whole world that you thought you knew as a kid, it's changed. You're an adult. I mean, in 1998 or whenever that came out. I mean, you couldn't put a price on that. Like, it was literally changed the way I thought of video games. Because before that, it was like, okay, I'm gonna play Mario, play Sonic, play Star Fox. You know, you're playing video games, right? You're playing games that are like a game, and then you get Zelda, and it's like you're not even Zelda, right? You're just playing a game called Zelda. You're not even Zelda. So there's got to be some kind of like mystical, like, who the heck is Zelda? Why is she significant? What? She's basically like that world's Jesus Christ, and like you're just, I don't know. It was, as a kid, that really hit me, man. And then like at the end when you kill Ganondorf, you going up those stairs and he's playing the organ. You kill him, and then he comes out of that rubble, dude. And you're like, you thought you won, you thought you escaped, but he comes out and he just fucking shows you the Triforce that he's got, and he's just, he's completely possessed at this point by whatever demon, and he just becomes Ganon, and then you're like, that is a boss, man. That is a boss. Like, years before, Dark Souls, we had basically a Dark Souls boss, right? I mean, it was like Dark Souls for kids, right? And like, the music is playing, and the music is playing like a theme where it's like it's basically like, this is the end of the world, right? Like, this is like, if you don't do this, the world is done. And like, that's how you feel. It's like it puts so much pressure on you, and like and once you, and I think another reason why is that battle holds so much significance in the Zelda timeline, which they've basically abandoned, which I'm so mad about. But like, that was the timeline where if Link dies, it actually goes towards like the Link to the Past and like the original Zelda, and if he lives, it goes towards a couple of other different timelines. But it really is, it changes the course of that world. And like, you think about like that there is a world in which he dies there, and it kind of makes you feel like, wow, like that's why this music, that's why this whole battle is so significant. And they haven't captured that for a Zelda for me since. It hasn't had that impact. Twilight Princess is probably the closest it's come for me. Wind Waker had its own charm, but I don't even almost consider Wind Waker. I consider Wind Waker like a side game. I do. I consider it like a side game to the series. I don't consider it like a true. And plus, it's its own different timeline, right? Like, it is kind of a side series. There's a lot of lore that connects it, but to me, it's like you're not even in Hyrule anymore, right? You're on the Great Sea. It's like it's kind of a side game. But Ocarina and to Majora's Mask to an extent, and then Twilight Princess, those three are my games. Like, those I felt like tried to capture that epicness, where I don't know, it just did such a good job. Twilight Princess, I think the only reason it comes closest is because it has a lot of dark themes as well. It has a lot of mystical dark themes. The Twilight Realm, what is that? So it's like a purgatory almost, and it's like, yeah, I mean, that's probably my favorite video game. I mean, if I had to pick one to ever play, like, I would say like that's the best video game that's the best experience I've ever had in gaming. But the best game, like if I had to take a game to a desert island, it would probably be either classic World of Warcraft in a perfect world where maybe Blizzard was better, and maybe making changes to classic like that were actually good, like class balances and things like that. It would probably be that, or it would probably be Skyrim, because Skyrim I could play that game, I could put hundreds of hours in that game and still have fun with that game. Well, that about wraps it up. I think that's a good spot to stop. Yeah, what do you guys think? Put it in the comments, subscribe. Let me know what you think of, the kind of content I'm going to be doing. It's basically going to be, just weighing in on, different things. I'm looking forward to hearing what your favorite game is. I'm looking forward to hearing what your most underrated game is. What's the best shooter? We want to wear Halo. Like, what do you guys think of Halo? What's your favorite shooter? I know for For instance, Counter-Strike held a lot of significance for me. Half-Life holds a lot of significance for me. Those are probably my top 3. I was never a big Call of Duty fan, but I'm sure there's plenty of people who think that Call of Duty Modern Warfare was the best shooter ever. So let me know in the comments. I'm planning on doing daily uploads, so yeah. See you guys around. Peace.